best budger phone out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.
First points then for Bangladesh in this Asia Cup. They had to work perhaps harder than they would have imagined or liked, but credit to Hong Kong, who've given a very good account of themselves after being brushed aside by Afghanistan. They were in the game for a lot longer. At least they made it harder for a much higher ranked opposition. Liton Kumar Dash, would you be happy with Bangladesh finishing in the 18th over, chasing 140 odd? We have mentioned already the possibility of net run rate in this group in particular, but we'll look back at that performance and just take the major takeaways for Bangladesh on CMF by Nothing presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Yash Jha, my colleague, is with me, and we just have to give Wasim Jaffer whatever he asks these days. Sir, 17th, 18th over, matlab 17.4 is as 17th, 18th over as it can be. So firstly, you've got both predictions spot on. But if you're in the Bangladesh camp right now, 2 points were given today. Would you still feel like we should have got these quickly, that net run rate thing, or was it really hard today and this result is a fair result for Bangladesh?
Well, I think they had an opportunity to finish around 16th or 15th over. They could have tried that. They had a longish partnership between Liton and Tauhid. Tauhid just got run a ball 35 or a little bit more. But they had the opportunity to finish probably 2 overs earlier. They missed that chance. But I mean, they'll be happy that they got the job done. They just need to, win the next games, and obviously, they'll be through.
I mean, if they miss out by, say, couple of decimal points on net run rate, which towards the end it happens, isn't it, Yash, where you need, if you hit that 6 an over earlier, or if you hit it off the last ball, it could be the difference. Let's assume it happens. They can look back at this game then. But that innings progressed pretty much at that sort of way, didn't it? It didn't look like they were really pushing for a win for net run rate.
It was an odd skew because they would have been fairly happy at the 7 over mark, 62 for 2 then. Yeah. But then came a strange spell where they were stifled. There were 32 balls from 6.5 to 11.6 without a boundary. They did, there weren't very quiet overs. They were still managing 5s and 6s. But yes, that 6 over spell, you've gone from 62 for 2 in 7 to 89 for 2 in 12, which means that even though you ended the match playing at 10s and 11s in the last 5, it's still gone down to 18.
And do you have a sort of boundary attempts in that period as well? Because it also looked like they were happy to work it around. Now, I wonder if you can look at today's surface and think actually it wasn't as easy even for Bangladesh's batters. Lots of big shots attempted were either miscued, not quite connecting even right towards the end. What does that tell us?
I don't think it was that hard of a pitch. I think it's just that the bowlers are not giving much pace. Sometimes the top teams don't face these kind of bowlings, where you're facing 120, 115 kind of pace. Sometimes it's harder. And also, they were 2 down in the power play. They wanted to make sure, they get the job done, rather than forcing their way to look for the net run rate and obviously find themselves in a mess. So I think they were just playing a little safe. That's what it looked like.
We had big expectations from these openers today. We thought they'll set the tone, and in the power play with the ball nice and hard, that they'll get Bangladesh off to quick fire 30, 40, and it looked like a struggle, wasn't it? We just look at both openers' numbers in this one. Parvez Hussain, 19 of 14, but Tanzid really struggled.
Yeah, it was tough, and I think if we flip this around and look at it from the Hong Kong perspective, we thought that spin was the way to go because in the last game their spinners stifled Afghanistan's batting, and could they perhaps have used them more. This time you had both Aizaz and Atiq Iqbal very frugal. They had bowled their first 3 overs for 14 each. Iqbal had bowled those 3 overs in the power play itself, and then he comes on to bowl only in what was the last over of the game in the 18th. Aizaz didn't bowl out on a day where the spinners actually didn't get any purchase.
Yeah, the comments coming through on our YouTube live, send them through. We'll take as many as we can on our post-match show. And Anton says, net run rate. Was Tauhid Ridoy not even thinking of it? I guess one way of looking at this is, you've got wickets in hand. So just try and hit every ball for a boundary. And if you get out, there's enough batting to come. And you could finish this game, those 2 overs earlier that you speak of. Did you see that intent from, say, Tauhid Ridoy at least?
You could see in the end, but he was not timing the ball well. It looked like a real struggle to him. It was actually Liton Das who did the damage. He was also 20 ball 20 at one stage, but then he picked it up. He picked up his bowlers, he batted smartly. But for Tauheed, I think he found himself hard to hit the ball out of the park. So it could be one of those days.
Is it at all possible that both of them did fear that, as much as we talk about Bangladesh having depth, but number 7 is Mahdi Hassan, who doesn't actually have that huge a sample and that big strike rate. Rishad, promising, but again, it's not much of a sample. Is it possible that there was the fear that while we may have batters who can play a role, we don't want a scenario in this game where we end up being 80 for 4 and then those numbers 6, 7, 8.
What fear? Come on, this is Bangladesh.
I'm
I
just
know what
trying to
you're
think.
saying.
I'm
I'm
just trying to
putting it
think
the
if
other way
that's the
around.
way.
I mean, I would
we-
imagine the Bangladesh fans would have wanted their team to come out and smash this bowling, with due respect to Hong Kong.
And we talked about playing fearless. I mean, you can't be fearful against a team like this, especially at the start of the tournament.
Does that fearlessness go out the window when you lose 2 wickets early and those openers don't give you the kind of start you're hoping for?
Yeah, it's perhaps it. If the openers don't get you off to a flyer, then do they play like this, perhaps, just to steady
And
things.
especially against the associate teams, because you don't want to be, embarrassed, at the start of
wrong
the
end,
tournament
yes.
and get the job done rather than running towards that net run rate.
Yeah, perhaps you sense that you picked up that element over here of it's the start of the tournament. Let's not worry about showing them our showing a statement and getting the net run rate. Let's get the job, no hiccups. When Sri Lanka come our way, we would have got an idea of how this pitch plays, of how what to expect, and maybe we'll see the better or the best of Bangladesh against the higher ranked teams like Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. Did you sense that was the kind of approach today?
Possibly, yeah, and they will know the bowlers who are they going to face. They would have faced them earlier also.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at from the outside, it looked like the coaches were a little upset. The Bangladesh that
absolutely.
What we are talking that they should have got the job done. But I think if they play the bowlers they have played before, they'll probably play with bit more intent.
I mean, now with a young Bangladesh team, coaches can afford to get a little upset also. No? I don't know. Senior players in the team who will who you can't get upset with. Anyway, that was on my note. Anything else that we want to pick up here at this point? We've seen 2 games at Abu Dhabi now, and it's not necessarily made for easy batting. Let's put it that way. Barring Azmatullah Umarzai as a standout single batter, nobody really has been able to get going and produce like an innings of free strokes and power hitting. Is that a matter of concern for you? Do you think it will get better as we see more games here?
We hope so. I mean, generally you get good scores there. I mean, 180, 190 is what I can remember playing IPL there.
Yeah.
It's an open ground. You get the wind blowing, from. So I feel you expect the pitches to get better and the scores to get better. But I feel that, the start probably will be like that, where teams will take it easy, have wickets in hand. It might be that way to go.
I have a feeling this group might take us back to that early phase of the World Cup last year, where we were getting a fair few low-scoring humdingers with Afghanistan and Sri Lanka.
You've been trying to manifest
Bangladesh.
these humdingers. They've not come yet.
I mean, I've only started manifesting 1 innings ago, so I will give it a few more goes over the next few days. But just seeing the composition of, Afghanistan with their spin, Sri Lanka will have their spin as well. Bangladesh might be playing the 2 specialist spinners, but Fizz with his cutters. I don't know. Abu Dhabi could see a few 120 meets 130 and goes to the last over.
All right. What we can say is, and I think I made this point on the pre-show, that Hong Kong will be better off having played a game against Afghanistan, and they would be better today. They were certainly better today. I know there are a lot of comments coming through, and they have also as well on the scheduling, and we discussed this briefly. Could we have had a bit of a blockbuster fixture early, if not an India-Pakistan, but maybe a Bangladesh-Sri Lanka early or an Afghanistan-Bangladesh early. All that aside, maybe you can give me your views if you have one on this. But would this not be such a bad thing for Bangladesh actually? Play Hong Kong today, get an idea of the surface. Now when you play Sri Lanka, who will be playing their first game when Bangladesh play them, and would have come in quite late. They had a series in Zimbabwe. They travelled here, etc. But do you sense this schedule is actually not bad for Bangladesh? They've got a bit of game time here. They might be a bigger threat against Sri Lanka in the second game rather than if it was the first game for both teams?
I think it will benefit Bangladesh for sure. Having a win on their side and also used to a little bit more condition. It will be easier for Bangladesh than Sri Lanka for sure.
All right. I think that game is Also at Abu Dhabi, or is
Yes,
that one
it
at
is
Dubai?
Abu
It
Dhabi.
is at Abu Dhabi. Well, that is what we've got for you. Quick word on Hong Kong and what we can kind of appreciate for them. Of course, we don't expect them to make waves in this tournament, but improvement from one game to the next. As a coach, I'm sure that is what you would take away from today's game, from today's effort from Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think they put on a good show, especially batting wise. Their spinners bowled well in the first game. Today, the fast bowlers did a decent job. If their top order contribute a little bit more, Babar Hayat, Anshuman Rath, and show a little bit more intent, in the power play a little bit, and even after, you could see them, ending on a good note in that last league game.
Yeah, I don't want to pick too much because this is a far better, far improved effort in the space of 48 hours. But Zishan Ali will look back at those first 8 overs where he managed 8 of 22. It's one thing, I know that you're looking to play a template where you reach 140, 150 and you want to be safe, but that's safe. The level up is perhaps, at least making 15 of 20 as opposed to 8 of 20.
All right, we leave it over there. I guess Bangladesh, we can't really give too much of an opinion here, but maybe I'll throw in this one to finish things off. Whether I think on our opening day, Abhinav and Akash picked Sri Lanka and Afghanistan from this group. We are yet to see Sri Lanka. We've seen Afghanistan, we've seen Bangladesh. Is anyone willing to say that, yep, what I've seen from Bangladesh tells me that they could actually beat one of Sri Lanka and Afghanistan and make it to the top 2 after this first performance?
I think so. You can't write off Bangladesh, I would say. Now that you have mentioned that they played one game, they'll get the hang of it. Sri Lanka is coming in and playing a first game. If Bangladesh can upset Sri Lanka in that game, they could be through.
Will their fans accept it an upset? That beating Sri Lanka is an upset for Bangladesh?
I mean, as long as they go to the next round, they'll be happy.
Yeah, I really think that game on Saturday is effectively a knockout because I think Afghanistan are the strongest team in this group.
Yeah. And now with this Bangladesh margin of victory, that +4 net run rate has almost become like another point.
Yeah.
So there is that. Yeah, point well taken. Yash, thank you very much. Pick up things from you as well as Wasim Jaffer tomorrow when we see Oman and Pakistan for the first time. So do join us for our build-up as the Asia Cup carries on, and we still wait for that humdinger, that close game. But this is the kind of tournament Asia Cup is. It'll simmer like that, it'll cook slowly, and suddenly it'll explode once we get to the Super 4s and beyond. So look forward to your company then on CMF by Nothing presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout.
Best budget thrown out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.